Association with our partners.
We're with Keegan, who's spreading his changeable knowledge about F&B's Business Hub.
Ever thought of branching out across the country?
I'd like to, but I don't really know how.
With F&B's Business Hub, Mahala, on the F&B app, there are tools on how to grow your business. You can learn business skills with Fundaba that has excellent practical information on most business topics. Or tune into Business Talk for industry news via podcasts, articles, and videos. There's also the Business Toolkit on how to navigate a crisis. You can learn whenever, even while on the move.
How? All this from a bank. How?
On the F&B app.
How?
How, Wayne? Switch your business to a bank that helps you level up your business skills. Switch to F&B, where one simple change makes a big difference.
Welcome to the I Am an Entrepreneur show, brought to you by F&B in association with our partners, Reno and ShopRite. This is where we help entrepreneurs build and grow their businesses. My name is Garabo Ntweng, and what a pleasure it is to be your host. Now, it's that time of the year when businesses are starting to wind up to their financial year end, while others are kicking off a brand new one. That is why it is only fitting that our theme for today's summit is winning in 2022. I don't know about you, but when I hear winning, I think victory, I think success, I think breaking barriers. And that is what everyone wants all small business owners to achieve. Now, to help us do exactly that, today you will meet entrepreneurs who, in the midst of a pandemic, launched a brand new business, and it continues to be a success today. How did they do it? You'll find out from them. Then we've got Jeremy Maggs, who's going to have an in-depth conversation in Viewpoint that will be extremely insightful to you. And then our favorite business doctor, Kitumeti Lekaba, is back, and she has got some practical tools to share with you as she unpacks 5 skills to help you in 2022. It is all about winning. If you are joining us via Facebook or YouTube, we want you to join in the conversation, so do post in our comment section. And if you are watching via our data-free stream, very easy, send us a WhatsApp. The number is 078-350-0768. We are also on Twitter. Tag us at IAAESA. The hashtag, and the only hashtag that matters today, is IAAE Summit. Let's get the summit started. First up, we'll zone in and learn from entrepreneurs who are doing great things. They share a passion of mine, which is coffee. Now, I don't know about you, but to win any day, the first thing I need to start with is a fresh cup. Now, imagine winning a whole year. Cannot wait to hear what gems they've got to share. And the other thing with a fresh cup of coffee, the minute I hear award-winning, I am sold. This duo won 2021 Best New Coffee at the South Africa Coffee Awards. Cannot wait to hear from them. Meet Lemogang and Itumeleng Khopa, our entrepreneurs for today, who are the co-owners and founders of Home of the Bean.
I'm Lira Khopa.
And we are from Home of the Bean, a specialty coffee company. Why did I choose entrepreneurship? For me, I think growing up, I didn't really know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I felt that the opportunities that were available, rather that I was exposed to, were limited. But I did know that I wanted to create something. I wanted something that would be mine, that I would be able to build with and for my family. And so I think that's where my journey began. From school, I used to sell sweets, and before the company, I used to sell costumes, and now we're here.
Yeah, for me, I grew up in a family. We used to have a tavern at home, but I never thought at this time I'll be in a coffee business, or even in a business for that matter. But I knew that I want to do something that will fulfill me. And as time goes, I realized that going into business give me that freedom of creating and be in control of where I want to go in terms of the journey. It started as a passion. So we used to visit different coffee shops, and we sort of started to like the environment of the coffee shop. One of our friends, he sort of realized that we into coffee, and he introduced us to one of their friends called Dan. He used to run the coffee shop called Firebed. I started to volunteer just to get a knowledge behind the counter, what's happening.
And you started with washing the dishes?
Yeah, I started washing the dishes because I think that was the easier way of getting behind the counter, because he was always busy on weekends, so he couldn't get a chance to do the dishes. So I'll come in on Saturday or Sunday and do the dishes until I learned how to make my first cup.
We did some research on what it would cost us to open a coffee shop. It really was a lot. So we looked at what we had, and that was, we still had our 9-to-5 jobs, so we had our salary, and we had investments and personal investments and savings. The third thing that we had was we opened a credit card for the business.
Yeah, we took the credit cards for business.
Yeah. So from there, we thought of going mobile instead of actually having a standalone shop. We searched for a VW Kumbi.
It's a very old one.
Yeah, an old one. We revamped it with the money that we had. Whatever was short, we would patch with our 9-to-5 jobs, and that's how we funded our journey.
After that, we had to try to get on the market or introduce our business to the market. So that was one of the challenges that we went for a couple of months trying to get into the market. We started doing the waiting. From the waiting, then we grew to do one of the market was the brown sands. Then from brown sands, then we did the low grade. Then I think from there, that's where the business started to grow. Then even people started to notice us, making inquiries about whatever special events they will have. The other challenge during COVID was finance on trying to keep the business alive. We had to try to keep or to pay our staff even during that hard lockdown, because we know that without them, there's no business.
So we started mobile, and then we went into a mini kiosk. So now that's when the business was sort of growing. Now we had to employ someone. And then from the kiosk, we went to
having the
small coffee shop. It was very small. It attracted a lot of people. It was in a very beautiful space. It was also very easy to manage. And then now we had to move from a small space to a very big space, which was a risk, number one. Especially during COVID times, it was very challenging. So it was either we stay there and not grow, or we just go big, because we tried looking for spaces, and people were closing down businesses, and it was tough.
Yeah, and landlords then, I don't know, somehow they were not willing to negotiate, even during that time of lockdown, knowing that the businesses are closing.
Suffering,
So that was a challenge, and either we're gonna close at some point if we stayed in an old location, or we had to move and take a risk of opening a bigger coffee shop that's sort of moving us from being a coffee shop, small coffee shop, towards restaurant. So
opening up the kitchen and introducing more things. It was basically like starting from scratch. And so from that, we had to basically be innovative. We had to adapt to the changes. We had to work with what we had. It wasn't easy, but I don't even know how we're still here.
I think that was still passion burning inside to say either we close or we go big. And by that time, we had sort of loyal customers in the area that were sort of becoming family members. Like whenever you think of that guy that comes and work in your space, and you think like, damn, if we close, hardworking investment that we did in 2017, truth is we haven't recovered the money even today. Yeah. So we had to think to say, let's just take this leap of faith and push harder. The tools or advice that I'll give one when they're starting with their partners is that firstly you have to understand the weaknesses and the strength of this partner that can be your wife, can be your family member, but we have to understand the strength and the weakness of each other. Then we can help each other on that. Yeah, and I think once you have the roles, setting boundaries is important as well, because we think that, oh, he's my husband, it's easier to just say anything and leave respect at the door, which I mean, it's a problem. So it helps us, when you establish boundaries, we help each other not overstep those. And support is also very important. Business has its ups and downs. Even not just as us working, but even the way that we communicate with the staff. If you give them the support, you encourage them, you push them basically to be able to express themselves freely, I think it enables the business to work successfully. And adding on the honesty as well, because like our business is based on money and we have physical money coming in. So imagine not trusting your sister or your wife with the cash flow that can come in and be like, oh, today we make 50 rand. Meanwhile, we did 100 rand because they're pocketing another money. So we need that trust. And I think once we establish that, then the rest will start unfolding and sort of making things easier for you guys to work together. In terms of the partnership, it's very difficult to know the difference between the business and the baby's crying. We can have those differences when it comes to business, but when we get home, we need to try to switch. Can be difficult, but you need to try to switch to not take the business home, because that's where you also gonna damage your marriage. So what does winning look like for us? I believe in our industry, winning is being able to source everything in-house. So if we're able to form a relationship with the farmers, get our green beans from them, get them transported here. If we're able to roasting is the biggest thing that we want to go into, and baking as well. So we want to basically just make everything in-house, keep the money in the family. And that's easier because it creates opportunities for being able to hire people, pay better salaries. People need to earn what they deserve, and yeah. And keep the business alive. Getting into the new spaces, I think, will be bonus. We're hoping or praying that we can grow towards that. But the main winning part for us will be owning roastery and be able to bake all in-house. The top things I would like to pass on to fellow entrepreneurs is intention and really putting yourself out there. I think it attracts opportunities. When people are starting something, they know that Leroy is doing this, so I know I can rely on him and I can have them on this project. The passion, because you're not going to make money all the time, so it needs to be something that's going to keep pushing you through the hard times. I think another important thing is that we need to be able to work on our products as well, especially as a small business, because I think in order for us to be out there and to attract the markets that we desire to work with, we need to work on our products. Make sure that your product is on A grade, your service is on A grade. You will have those downfalls, but let it be countable, and let's make sure that each and every customer that come across you can tell something positive, more positive than lesser negative, if they have a negative things to say. But work on your product, make your product to be the A grade. You don't need to compete, but if you compete with yourself, you'll come out to be much more greater because you're bettering yourself every time. You're not looking on next door. It's good that you look at next door what they're doing, but you shouldn't compete because that will derail you from where you want to be. Our coffee shop is going somewhere, someone's coffee shop is going somewhere. The moment we start focusing on their journey, we'll be derailing from where we want to be. So try to work on yourself, work on your product, work with other entrepreneurs. Personally, I visit a lot of coffee shops because I want to learn from them. I don't want to compete with them, but I want to learn from them. So if they're doing something better, I'll go and ask for advice. So the same way as we started, that's the same attitude that I think someone can take home to say, work on yourself, work on your product, work on where you want to be, and keep your vision and the picture be to say, this is where I want to be, this is where I want to see Home of the Bean in the next 10 years.
What an inspirational duo. May you continue to serve many delicious cups of coffee and many more wins in 2022. Now, we'd like to hear from you and what you learned from hearing Itumeleng and Lemohang's story. You can send us a WhatsApp if you're watching anywhere, like on our data-free stream. Send the message to 078-350-0768. And if you are on YouTube and Facebook, just comment on the comment section. We'd love to keep you guys engaged. Now, coming up next, after the break, we'll be catching up with our favorite business doctor, Kitumetse Lekaba, who is going to unpack some skills that you need to win 2022.
We're in Brown with Bossman who'd like to share how one simple change made a big difference in his business.
It's got 2021. Same hairstyle for the past 20 years. Chief, time to be a changer. I opened a business call account that's free and it's linked to my main business account.
Business call what?
A business call account separate from my main account that allows my business to start saving and earn interest from as little as 1 minute.
Like me, I use mine to manage my business cash flow properly by transferring money between accounts for free using the FNB app.
Be changeable.
Save and manage your cash flow with FNB's business call account. Switch to FNB, where one simple change makes a big difference.
Seeing my product in the shop, it makes me want to do more. I went into the veggie department. There was an old lady pushing a trolley and she went there, she took the packet of green beans, she looked at it, she says, no, I want 1532. Where is 1532 here? Because I bought it last time, it was so nice. And I was just close to her and she didn't know that it was my green beans. Then I was so excited about it. She left the other one and go. Really, this is a true story. I've seen it with my real eye. Before I had my own farm, I was a foreman around Hazyview. While I was working at the fresh produce there, we had a shortage of spinach. I took that advantage and went home and started planting out of a backyard. I've started to supply my previous employee. A lot of hard work, yes. I've managed to save some money while I was working there because the money for the spinach that I was selling while I was there, all that money to come and buy a farm. Shop right into Shile Kudu gore ke be le yona on board because gona jale ke kgona go lema ke supply ka nako and each year stock sa ga ka kam ka so. Over the last 10 years, I've supplied Freshmark with over 1 million packets of green beans. We pack only the nice green beans. So all those broken one and the skew one, we give it to the orphanage. They say that the hands that gives is the one that receives a lot of blessing.
Welcome back. You are watching the I Am an Entrepreneur Summit, where we help small businesses grow and build for success. We are winning in 2022, and that's why it is the perfect time for the business doctor Kitumetse Lekaba to share some skills that you need to help you win this year.
Hello entrepreneurs, welcome to another segment with myself, the business doctor, Kitumete Likaba, winning 2022. I thought to myself, you've already set your goals, so how can I help you to upskill yourself to still win in 2022? I'm going to share 5 skills that I think all entrepreneurs need in winning any specific year. Number 1, upskill yourself with the ability to sell. Be obsessed with selling to your customers. Once you've identified your customer segment, once you've identified the channels in which to get to your customer segments, and once you've identified the relationships in which to keep with your customers, be obsessed with getting your product out to them. Close that deal. Without a sale, there is no business. Number 2, upskill your ability to manage costs. All business starts with costs. So if you don't know how to manage your costing, you're not going to be able to price right, you're not going to be able to manage your cash flows properly. So learn to strategically manage cash and costs. Number 3, learn to learn. Often leaders and entrepreneurs fall in the trap that they know everything. Dong, not correct. You have to learn from the environment in which you are operating in, you have to learn from the industry, and you also have to learn from the people around you, as well as the world we live in. Number 4, the ability to manage your time effectively. Audit what you're currently spending your time on, and then prioritize what you need to do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and on a monthly basis to help you achieve your goals. And lastly, number 5, break down the process into small, achievable tasks. And I think Will Smith gives a very good example of this in his current book, Will. He says, don't be so obsessed about building the perfect wall. Be obsessed with laying the perfect brick. Each time you lay the perfect brick, the outcome of that is the perfect wall. So also with yourselves, don't be so obsessed with the perfect outcome. Be obsessed with the perfect small tasks, and the outcome of that will be the perfect outcome. With that said, I hope this will help you in winning your 2022 and have a good year.
Thank you, Business Doctor. We know that we can always count on you to whip our businesses into shape. Remedies and notes taken. Thank you very much. Now, before we continue exploring the theme of winning in 2022, let's take a look at business news and entrepreneurship news that you need to know that are happening in Mzansi and around the world.
Let's go for a quick trip around the world for news and trends you need to look out for this month. The impact of the war in Ukraine and resulting sanctions against Russia has caused oil and other commodity prices to surge. South African business will feel the impact through increased petrol prices that will have a knock-on effect on the price of all inputs. Russia and Ukraine are also leading global producers of wheat and fertilizers, and the price of all products relying on these inputs are expected to increase, affecting consumers and businesses that supply wheat-based products such as bread, cakes, and pastries. Are you preparing for your increased input costs? How much of these costs will you be able to pass on to your customers? Something to think about. FNB's research shows a surge in the South African online e-commerce market with a value of 200 billion rand per annum. This is up from 90 billion rand in 2019 and 142 billion rand in 2020. According to FNB, e-commerce accounted for 14% of retail card payments in 2021, up from 8% before the pandemic. This trend towards online is expected to continue as consumers continue to adopt technology and solidify online spending habits, with the e-commerce market expected to reach more than 400 billion rand in value by 2025. Is your business geared to take advantage of this growing e-commerce trend? Lastly, Google has recently announced the launch of the Hustle Academy, which seeks to train 150 entrepreneurs. The initiative, which is free of cost, offers live training sessions, one-on-one mentorship, and masterclasses by industry leaders, and gives entrepreneurs direct access to a wealth of networking opportunities. This follows on from another Google initiative, the Google Startup Accelerator, which also recently announced its final intake for 2022. If you're interested in signing up for the Academy, visit g.co/Hustler Academy.
Knowledge is truly power, and such a great reminder that for any entrepreneur, it is so important to stay on top of what's happening in the news when it comes to business, whether it is locally or international news for any business, big or small. After the break, we'll take a look at what Jeremy Maggs has in store for us, an insightful conversation as per usual on The Viewpoint. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it.
We are in Krugersdorp with Cindy and Loiso, who's about to find out that with the FNB app, there's no excuses.
Honey, let's go. We need to book flights for our getaway.
Skawara, love. We can book and pay for flights and car hire securely on the FNB app. Plus, we get bonus slow lounge visits to relax before our flights.
No. I forgot my card. We can't pay for this.
Skawara. I can scan to pay using FNB Pay on the FNB app.
Does the FNB app help you get life insurance?
Yeah, that and more in the palm of my hand.
Skawara. Take a leap with help. Switch to FNB, where one simple change makes a big difference.
The best way to enjoy a mushroom is just to eat a mushroom. I've been growing mushrooms on this farm for 21 years now. We started supplying checkers. We were very excited about it. We are still very excited because it allowed us to have access to more than 364 stores. And that allows us to deliver a lot more volume. It enabled us to grow to where we are today. We currently supply more than 16,000 first-grade pallets of mushrooms. When we are operating fully, we have a staff complement of about 175, which is permanent jobs. And 52% would be women. Some of them have been here for more than 20 years. A lot of people eat with their eyes, so they have to look nice, even though it doesn't correspond to the taste. They always taste nice. But our mushrooms look better because we control better.
Welcome back. You are watching I Am an Entrepreneur. The official hashtag is IAAE Summit. Please do share your thoughts and insights that you are learning today. Up next, renowned broadcaster Jeremy Maggs is back with Viewpoint, and this time around, he has a conversation with the founder of Lioka, a multidisciplinary professional engineering firm. Take notes.
Hello everybody and welcome to the second season of Viewpoint. I'm Jeremy Maggs and I'm absolutely delighted to be with you. What are we doing here? Well, we're going to unpack secret strategies of winning and entrepreneurial success. And this year I would contend, because we've experienced so much difficulty over the past 2 years, that this is going to be the year of winning. And in this series, we're going to focus on people who are making a real difference. And I'm going to start off with someone who is really making a big indentation as far as that is concerned. I'm going to introduce you in just a moment to Katlego Makgata. He is the Managing Director of Lioka Engineering. Let me give you a little bit of background. It's a growing, and when we talk about growing, it really is growing, multidisciplinary engineering and project development and management organization specializing in mining, infrastructure, aviation, and heavy industries. I know he has a fascinating story to tell us, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. So Katlego, a very warm welcome to Viewpoint. Before we start talking about winning strategies, I want to find out a little bit about you and your entrepreneurial journey. When did you decide to embark on this project that is now Lioka?
Thank you, Jeremy. It's wonderful to be on your show. My journey really started way before Lioka was established. I've been dabbling and thinking about the entrepreneurship journey for quite a long time. But with the skill set that I acquired at work after my 15, 20 years worth of working, I realized that the space was there for skill sets similar to ours. And around about 2013, the company was established, but it really only got going at the end of 2016. Quite an interesting start since I resigned at the end of November, which wasn't the smartest of time to leave work. So the hell of December, I was sitting around and thinking, what the hell did I just get myself into?
What have I done?
What have I just done? So the journey was quite interesting. Didn't really have much of a business plan as a traditional business should be established. I knew that we had it in us to make it work.
So it was in here as much as on paper.
It was much more in the heart and believing in what I had to offer.
I want to talk a little later about harnessing skill sets, because that is critical. But give me a little bit of context if you can. What would we know you for? What are some of the projects that you and your company have worked on?
Okay. So I myself am a mechanical engineer. I've really worked on large mega projects in the mineral processing space where we built platinum plants for a variety of clients. Now with that skill set, transferred it into what would be what I call building myself an asset of value. This is us now saying, we're going to take the skill set and try and translate it into something that will build a wealth-generating entity.
I like that phrase, asset of value. Let's tease that out a little bit. When did you know that you had become an asset of value or are becoming an asset of value? When your clients understand and realize that you're here to stay?
The moment your client calls you up for advice and assistance and even runs ideas past you, then you know you've got much more value to add than just the average, say for example, service provider. I think in my company journey, that started to turn around about the middle of 2017, where we were pitching at a mine client for one aspect of a job, and they said, no, your skill set is more suited to help us in this area of the project. And that really kickstarted the journey. We started off on a mega project, took over key resources. We are looking after all the engineering on a large 10 billion rand project, on an underground expansion project out in Palaboro.
You said to me a moment or two ago that there wasn't much of a business plan, that it was more in the heart. But I would suggest to you that even if it wasn't written down on paper or on a spreadsheet somewhere, there was an element of design and planning. Whether it started maybe even 10, 15 years ago, the germ of the idea was there. How important is that for an entrepreneur?
I think the planning is essential. You need to align your skill set with what you want to offer. You need to stay in your lane, as the saying goes. Hence, I always try and advise that for any entrepreneur, you must make sure you hone your skills in the first 10, 12, 15 years of life. And then only then you can embark on an entrepreneurship journey. So in terms of planning, you're quite right. Perhaps it wasn't written down, but my skill set said, you are an engineer who will provide project engineering services in the mining sector. It was something that I love doing. In fact, if I have to be reincarnated, I would do the same job again. And if you follow your passion and aligns with the skill set, I think you've got a winning formula.
When you talk about honing skills for an entrepreneur, it's not just about the skills specific to your discipline, it's also about understanding the broader business paradigm. Am I right?
Correct.
Was that a struggle for you?
I think I've had a love for business. I've had a love for especially numbers, investment and accounting side of business, although I am an engineer. So that really started off perhaps 5 years into my working life, where I started to ask myself, what is business? What makes it tick? When I wake up and I just feel like I make a difference in people's lives, especially when you see the growth in those individuals as the journey goes.
Katleka, I always get very nervous when people use the word strategy with me. I tend to run a country mile, but it's critical that as the business starts to develop and embed itself, that you do have strategic intent. How do you start doing that? And perhaps more importantly, when you don't have that, what's the consequence?
Essentially, you should, like I said earlier, if you know what your skill sets are and what you want to offer with those skill sets, whether it's the soft side or the technical skill set.
But it's beyond that. Then you've got to start coloring it in.
Then you have to start coloring in the numbers. As soon as you start landing your first client, or you start, because essentially when you start off on an entrepreneurial journey, you have one idea. And as it goes, it develops and it morphs. And that's when, as soon as you can see what direction it's heading, you really have to do detailed planning as to where you're going and if that's the journey you really want to go on. Essentially, an entrepreneur is, at the beginning, you're more of an opportunist. You have a certain plan, but whatever comes along just to pay the bills. You essentially take it on until you can get back on what you really planned. In my world, essentially, the planning began as soon as the first 6 months. As soon as we started seeing what the interests are, what the market and what the clients are actually requiring of us. I had a certain idea, but as soon as I got out there, I realized they were looking for something else. And you start
Was there a
readjusting your
huge
plan.
disconnect? This is such an important issue that you raise, is that you've got one idea and you think this is going to be it, and yet it's going to change. And I think maybe the message you want to give entrepreneurs today is don't be afraid when that happens.
Yes.
Is that deviation from the path of original intent is probably a good thing and inevitable.
It's inevitable. At the end of the day, you are servicing somebody who needs your services, right? In my personal journey, the deviation wasn't so drastic. We remained in the space that we wanted to be in, except the offerings started to adapt a little bit to the client's needs. Where I used to serve large capital projects in the likes of 4 billion rands, now you're servicing smaller clients with different needs. I didn't know those needs. We didn't really understand those needs. And we started to adapt our business plan to adjust to that.
But it's all rooted, as we've agreed, on planning at some point. If you're not planning properly, what impact then, and this was the second question to you, what impact can that have on implementation?
To answer your second question, if you don't plan, you are going to fail. You'll be very lucky to jump into a project without planning and actually pull it off, no matter how small it is. In fact, what we've discovered is the smaller the opportunity where you think planning is not really important in this instant, that's when you really have to sit down and ask yourself, what do I do, and every step of the way have an excellent plan for. You don't do that, you might end up just misaligning your service with the needs of the client, and that costs you more money and time and reputation, which is a bigger damage to your business.
What about time in all of this? Entrepreneurs often don't think long term. It's a short term environment that you're working in. How important is it to be thinking beyond the short termism?
Asset of value. You must build your business such that it survives you. Your business must not need you to be there to run. So from day one, I would advise that anybody that starts any business, for long-term sustainability, ensure that it can survive you. Make sure you've got systems that you build from day one. If you've got a procurement element in your company, it shouldn't need the founder or the director to be part of that process every step of the way. You shouldn't have to be sitting there reading every single document and understanding what needs to be done within the process.
So it's trust in the system that you've implemented properly, but also trust in the people that are working for you.
Trust is a big thing, and the systems can help with that, also can be a hindrance to progress. And that is the fine balance that every entrepreneur must start striking in every business. What's really important for the entrepreneurs to understand when in any process in your business, you need to be part of that process. And also, the big thing you need to have is a feedback mechanism to see, is the process working? And where can you adjust it such that it's more efficient for your size and for kind of operation you are running?
At the beginning of this conversation, we spoke about skill sets, and I need to come back to that because it's absolutely critical. Once you've built the organization to a level, I'm assuming then that you've got to be smart enough to be looking for different, multiple, and complementing skill sets. Not always easy to do. What's the advice?
Sure, that's been it's an ongoing challenge that we are facing. The advice there is do not look for skill sets that match yours. It's an easy and comfort zone of us to say, if I'm a mechanical engineer, I need somebody who's in the same field. Look for a dissenting voice. You need a certain personality that can look at people, because you're not only looking for your hard skills, you're also looking for people who fit in the values of your company.
I'm glad that you used that phrase, dissenting voices, because dissenting voices within a safe environment in any organization is a good thing. You don't want yes people surrounding you, but also it is predicated on you being an exemplary manager. You've got to be able to manage that dynamic. Not always easy.
No, no, it's quite difficult. I mean, I'd classify my management style as inclusive. But also inclusive doesn't mean you take on every opinion and you accept and you agree with everybody. But you've got to have somebody that says, I don't think this is the right way to go. And more often than not, it makes me also, it makes one as a leader start to question your own strategy or the direction in which you would try to take the organization.
Which is good.
Which is good. Because now you're looking at things from a different angle.
Good, yeah.
Annoying. I think being challenged is also not, I think as a leader, you always want to be right. But I think different views will add a lot of value to where you're going as a company.
But at some point, as the entrepreneur and the owner, you've got to make the decision.
At the end of the day, the decision lies with you. So, hence, I hardly make a decision on the spot. If I have to think about it, if I have to, again, reach out to mentors, by the way. Depending on how critical the decision is, every entrepreneur has got to have a sounding board who is not part of the organization, who is a senior leader or a thought leader in the industry, somebody you can bounce ideas off of. It's not a sign of weakness, it's actually a strength.
How often do you talk to that person or persons?
So, do have a set schedule of about every quarter. However, depending on where in the process, even within that quarter, if I have to consult, I do consult. It's okay to have multiple mentors because not every mentor can cover every aspect of your business.
I understand in your world that precision is important. But surely you also have to be able to encourage a culture of innovation. How do you find a balance there?
We've got our STIR values. There's 4 values. We call them STIR. So the S stands for solution seeking, I is for integrity, T is for time, R is for respect. And we value the very first one, is solution seeking. Each and every employee or staff member gets face time with the client and they get to actually find solutions. We don't always try and shield our employees from the client and the difficult solution-seeking process.
Final question for you, and maybe it's personal, but you have been successful. You are a young entrepreneur. How important is winning to you, inculcating a winning culture within your organization? Is that what drives you?
Winning is everything, but we have a different definition of winning. We have a saying that the project's not finished until the client's happy. So winning for us really depends on that external factor. I think many a time we do a good job and we pat ourselves on the back. Meanwhile, we've missed what the brief was. And for us, if you don't win, you're not able to give back to society. If you're not winning, you're not able to give back to the youngsters. You're not able to drive innovation and drive growth from your employees.
And I'm going to thank you, Katlego Makgata, for some fascinating insights into winning, planning, and being an entrepreneur in a very, very difficult and demanding space. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Jeremy, for your time.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. We can always count on you for an in-depth, insightful conversation. A very big shout out to Katlego as well for sharing your story. We wish you so many more wins in 2022 and beyond. Now, do you have something that really stood out for you during Viewpoint? Some key learnings. We want to hear what they are. If you are watching via YouTube or Facebook, post your comment in the comment section. If you are watching from anywhere else, you can send a WhatsApp to 078-350-0768. We have a hamper to give away, so if you want to get your hands on it, do the right thing and tell us what stood out for you in Viewpoint. We're about to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll hear from our sponsors, F&B, and how they can help you win in 2022.
Vandaag we're in Midrand with the owners of Go Gogos, a changeable business that's keeping Gogos on the move with FNB's speedy on-the-spot payment device. Gogos Go!
It's no secret. Before switching to FNB Business, cash payments were slowing us down.
Now, with FNB's speedy payment device, Go Gogos is on the move, now taking card payments on the spot from even more customers.
It's low cost,
contactless,
and it doesn't need to link to another device. Our customers will be able to get their receipts via SMS or email immediately.
Switch to FNB, where one simple change makes a big difference. Go, Gogos, go!
Welcome back. You are still watching I Am an Entrepreneur. Continue to share your thoughts with us. Don't forget that hashtag is IAAE Summit. Up next, the MD of I Am an Entrepreneur sits down with F&B to find out how they can help you and your business in 2022.
Always exciting to have our guest, Andiswa Bada, co-head of F&B SME. Today, we're speaking winning in 2022, and she's going to start by telling us what she thinks winning for small business means. Andiswa, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. And when I reflect actually about what winning could be in 2022, I draw from the fact that it was a very tough 2 years for small businesses. COVID hit, not to mention ongoing things like load shedding make it very difficult to start, run and grow a business. So for me, I think any entrepreneur that's growing, that's moving forward, whether it's hiring one more person, bagging one more contract, even a 5% increase on your profit line, if you're moving forward and are in a better place this year than what you finished last year, in my opinion, you're winning. Pat yourself on the back, you're doing well.
Absolutely. And tell us, Andiswa, how can F&B help me as a small business to win?
So I think one of the ways is for businesses to understand exactly what they already have available to them for free. Because there's quite a bit that you don't even have to pay for. Whether it's your first business banking account, which you can open via our app for free, and it comes with a bundle of free transactions before you need to start paying. Noting that that particular first business zero, as we call it, also comes with an F&B Connect SIM, whereby upon activation, your business can get into that SIM card 1 gig of free data upon activation, along with 400 megabytes every single month. Those are just 2 examples of stuff that is available to entrepreneurs for free, just for transacting with us and just for getting their business going. Because we understand that it's hard enough, we must try our best to make as many of these things available to entrepreneurs.
You definitely sold me at free data. And Andiswa, lastly, please tell us, in your opinion, what 3 things you think entrepreneurs need in order to succeed in their small businesses?
Last year we spoke a lot about the need to sell, sell, sell. And I would then elevate that this year to say, be more aware of the channels that your buyers are using to become aware of your products as well as to buy them. And so if you now have to start doing short, punchy TikTok videos, get out there, entrepreneurs, because if that's the way that people are consuming your brand and how to use it, that's the way you need to go. That's the first thing. Sell, sell, sell. The second one I would highlight is the need for insurance. I think July last year was a particularly dark period for South Africa with the unrest and looting. And it just showed how difficult it is for your business to get back on its 2 feet if you, for whatever reason, become a victim of crime, theft, looting, or things like that. So don't underestimate the importance of insurance. It can help you restart quickly if something goes badly. And then the last thing I would say for this year, number 3, is entrepreneurs notoriously underinvest in themselves. And they get so caught up in running hard and hustling that they forget that one cannot pour from an empty cup. So just as you're caring for your staff and your clients, care for yourself. And then I think we're set up for a great year.
Thank you so much, Andiswa, for those nuggets. Always giving us informative information and always giving us the recipes to success. Here's to entrepreneurs winning in 2022.
Thank you to Kitumeti and Andiswa. If you love what you heard and you want to switch to F&B, do the right thing and visit fnb.co.za for more information. When we say we help entrepreneurs grow their businesses, we mean it. And I don't know about you, even though with so many advertising platforms, word of mouth is still the way to go. And that is why this is one of my favorite parts of the show, because we get to hear from you, the business owner, where businesses get to showcase what they do. And who knows, they could end up getting a sale or 2 from you and I. Here's today's word of mouth.
Hi there, my name is Mike Piri and I'm the Chief Executive at Reasons Gardens. Alongside my partner, our associate, Dean Maputsane, Reason's Gardens started off as a family-owned or operated company with the sole purpose of providing the best level of service and premium products to our customers. And how we do this is that we link up the fresh produce producers or farmers, as well as the retail or wholesale market. In that same way, adding value to the value chain. And how it is that we are great in this sense is that we offer all our customers their own direct and personal attention, which is something all customers deserve. And one of our biggest learns in this sort of industry is that there's quite some barrier to entry, especially for startups. And that's what we're obviously just looking to conquer on a day-to-day. My name is Mike Piri, and I'm an entrepreneur.
Hi, I am Leta from Amanzi Body Food Express. We are a water manufacturing plant. We deal with purifying water, bottling it, branding it, packaging it, and supplying it to different clients. We have still water, flavored water, as well as sparkling water. The most important thing in business is to be consistent and to be persistent. What makes us great is the fact that we bend over backwards to meet our clients' expectations. Hi, I am Leta, and I am an entrepreneur.
Hi everyone, my name is Damilola. I'm a beauty specialist responsible for the grooming and appearance of a client, that is manicure and pedicure. I love and I'm very passionate about my job. I've learned to be tolerant, accommodative, patient, as well as being social. I am Damilola Oladoye and I am an entrepreneur.
It is always so inspiring to hear from other business owners. Please do book them, call them, show them some love and use their services. And also, we want to hear from you and what business you've got going on. You could be featured in the very next word of mouth. Very easy. Just drop us an email, info@iamentrepreneur.co.za, and you could be on the show next. We're about to take a short break, but when we come back, some pearls of the hustle and book corner coming right up. Stay tuned.
We are in Bungwane. Magaro and Temba are discussing low-cost ways to run your business. Zanzi, Mamela.
The way we do business has changed, eh? And so must we.
Oh, yeah.
Did you change your business bank?
Hey, sisters, I finally switched to FNB's First Business Zero. And I now get more than the zero monthly account fee. I get unlimited Mahala card swipes, free business coaching with Fundaba, with FNB app, Zulu, and in 4 other languages. And a free FNB Connect SIM that is already loaded with more data, SMS, and business call time. More, Kanjan.
More low, mhlobo wami, with FNB's First Business Zero.
Oh, yes.
Get more low for your business. Switch to FNB, where one simple change makes a big difference. Well, that's it.
This is where the story begins. It's my daughter's 11th birthday party. She wanted to have a bunch of friends over, so there was lots of pizza. It was epic. Got onto my phone and I googled corn dogs near me. Nothing showed up. How do I not have corn dogs in Joburg? So I thought, okay, well then it's fine. I'll just make my own. Corn dogs were the #1 favorite of the day. I told my husband, he was like, you could be onto something. So the rest is history. He was like, let's do something about it. I started calling every hour for several days. I was very persistent. We got our meeting set up with the buyer, with a promise, and had a billion questions, which he answered them all. The day that our awesome distributors came to pick up these packets, I couldn't believe they were leaving, and it felt like my children were leaving my house. So they entered stores, and I tell you, for the first week, myself, my husband, my staff, everybody in my family, we were finding every checkers that we could and making sure the temperatures were the correct temperature, checking sure the boxes were stacked okay, watching people buy our product. It was incredibly well received. And today we've got about 38 staff, and we can see what the employment we've given them is doing in the lives of the community. This additional income is helping us expand our business to places we didn't think or know it could get to. So we have an original chicken flavor, a chicken cheese, and a chili cheese or jalapeno cheese. So we want to cater for everybody, and we do. No one ever has one, ever.
Welcome back. You are watching I Am an Entrepreneur. Now, Barack Obama once said, reading is important. If you know how to read, then the whole world opens up to you. This is so true not only in our personal lives, but also as an entrepreneur. You have so many gems that are stuck in books, and that's why we need to open them up and read. You can never do too much reading as an entrepreneur, and somebody who believes exactly that is personal finance expert, author, and the founder of Woman and Finance, Mapalomaku, who's going to sit us down and chat to us about the books that have grown her and shaped her as an entrepreneur. Here's the book corner.
I'm a personal finance columnist and author, and I have a business called Woman and Finance, where I educate women and help them become confident about their personal finances. I think reading is very important for entrepreneurs, not only entrepreneurs, but everyone. I will give you a story. When I finished matric, I thought I was going to study a BA, right? And because I couldn't go to varsity in that year, the following year, because money was stretched thin. Two of my siblings were already in varsity. So I took an involuntary gap year. And in that year, I started reading books that I had never read before, right? Remember, I was going to study copyright at Rhodes University. And because of books, I completely changed. So I started reading personal finance books. I started reading about investing. I was like, what world is this, right? So for me, it is significant to read and even read outside of the normal genre that you do read. Because of that, I completely changed from studying copywriting to saying, you know what, I want to do a BCom finance. And that's exactly what I did. But even through your life as an entrepreneur or just as an individual, knowledge is important. How do you grow if you do not know? How do you grow if you are not consuming things that will make you grow? And for me, books are so critical. But what I've realized also is that books are not just there to inform you and that you agree with everything they say. I think books also help you form your own opinion as an individual. I've seen way too many times where people say, oh no, I don't read that book is trash. And I'm like, that is not the point of books. Books are not there to confirm everything you believe. They are there to even challenge you. I grow through reading books. Let me share with you some of my favorite books. So this book is called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and my sister introduced me to him, right? And I've been reading this book for the past 5 years. Every single year, I have to read this book. For me, it is a book about life because it talks about this boy who goes on a journey to find treasure. And all of us, aren't we all trying to find treasure? We certainly are. What I absolutely loved about this book is that through challenges, they will come, but you have to be fearless. You have to continue seeking that which is inside of you, right? Regardless of the challenges. My husband and I, a couple of years ago, when we decided to move back home, this book was a catalyst for that because I knew that, you know what, for us to get to the next step of what we want to achieve, if you are saying you're an entrepreneur, there are going to have to be sacrifices, right? So for me, this book really helped me and encouraged me to say, you know what, I can do hard things. And even today, because of experiencing that and because of reading this book, I'm not afraid of challenges. So this is definitely a must. This book I absolutely loved. I absolutely loved. I picked up this book last year, November. We all know Nike, right? We know the brand, we love the brand. But for me, I wanted to see, how did you build this brand, this global brand? And he had so many challenges. so many challenges when he started out. But I think the most significant thing for me as someone who talks about personal finance was the depth in which he went when he spoke about his financial challenges. I think as entrepreneurs, we are ashamed to say, hey, I am struggling right now. When you're building, you don't have anything to your name. But there's this misconception now, especially with social media, to look like you've made it already. And he did not try to do any of those things. And of course, yes, they didn't have social media, but there were other pressures that I'm sure he was facing. A very significant thing I learned from this book is the people you surround yourself with are very important, very important. And the same people he surrounded himself with when he started, they all grew and they have shares in the business. Yes, some fell off, of course, because relationships sometimes just don't work out. But the importance of having the right people in your business is everything. It actually can either make or break the business. One of the things in the book he mentions is about, when the offer started coming through to say, okay, sell us a share, sell us this. And one of the guys took him aside and said, what are you trying to achieve here? What is the goal? Yes, now we have different offers, there's different type of money coming in. And I think it really goes back to saying, what do you want to achieve? What do you want your legacy to be at the end of the day? Because you can accept money will always come. Lately, it's something similar that we've been experiencing. My PA, Pam, you have different emails, can you do this for us? And I look at the company, I said, I do not want to be associated with this company. So I think it's very important to know yourself, to know the type of people you want to be around and the type of people you want to work with. So this book, I couldn't put it down. I could not put it down. I would wake up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. just trying to get through quite a lot of pages for the day because I'm a mom. This book, I almost didn't bring it, right? Because the title of the book is very clickbaity. When I saw someone recommending it, I was like, I'm not so sure. But this book for me is shocking. And you see what I spoke about earlier, that books are not there to confirm everything that you know. Books are there sometimes to challenge you. There are some things that I definitely don't like in this book at all. He is very, you can almost say arrogant. But if you look past that, there are some really, really good lessons in here. So he basically talks about how to build a business and how to think about it when you're going into a business. Can you scale this business? If it's not scalable, what magnitude, what impact will you be making? So this book is really challenging quite a lot of things that I do know. And I think as someone who talks about personal finance, where you're always talking about, whatever money you make, you need to make sure that you're investing, saving, you need to make sure that you get out of debt. And for me, he said something that is so important. And I believe this. He says that those things should not be the plan, should form part of the plan, right? What do I mean by that? It means that what he talks about, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you are in the business of making money, right? Making an impact, making sure that you give good service, whatever you're providing is good, right? But he says you cannot just focus, he calls it the slow lane, right? Where you are just saving, where you're just investing. He says that the whole point of business is to make money, make an impact. So how are you going to do that? Can you scale this business? And this is where, as an entrepreneur, you have to ask yourself tough questions. Because I have found, even with myself, when things have been good in the past, you tend to relax and you think, I'm in my comfort level. But you always have to go back to the drawing board and say, actually, what am I achieving here? What is the bigger picture? So for me, this book, it's making me ask myself tons of questions, tons. And I think that is why reading is so important, not just to confirm, because we're all biased to what we believe, to challenge yourself, to finally ask yourself the really, 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 really hard questions about your business, about who you are and what it is that you want to achieve overall. Of course, I had to bring this book, okay? As an entrepreneur, you must always take advantages whenever you can, right? To either promote your business or whatever it is that you're selling. So of course, I had to bring my book. I authored this book and it's everything about personal finance. And some of the reviews that I've gotten from this book really have been, it's the most relatable, most easy to read personal finance book. And for me, when I wrote this book, I had in mind that I don't want people to go through the book and I just sound smart, right? I sound smart, I put all these big words in here, and yet people cannot walk away knowing about personal finance. So I had to make it as simple and as relatable as possible with simple English. And so for me, it was writing something that was practical, something that was relatable, something that's actually going to help people to move from anxiety to action when it comes to their personal finances.
Thank you very much, Mapalo. Reading is so empowering, and here's to reading many more books in 2022 to help us win. Up next, here's some inspiration in Pearls of the Hustle.
I got a good one for you today. One of the things that's critical to understanding your journey is the plan and the goal. The plan and the goal are two different things. The goal is the destination. The plan is how you are approaching it. People get stuck on their plan too much. Now, the goal doesn't have to change. The goal is the same, but your route to that goal, you have to be flexible. The road to success is always under construction. You can be planning to go this way, but every now and then in life, there's gonna be a detour, there's gonna be a U-turn, there's gonna be men at work. It doesn't change the goal, but the route to get there, it has to change. Reinvention has been one of my keys to success. It can be one of the keys to yours. Apply a lot of determination to reinvent yourself and take another route to success. It don't matter how you went, as long as you get there.
Just like that, we have reached the end of I'm an Entrepreneur for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you learned a lot from our guests and all our experts and what they had to share about winning in 2022. We love to hear from you, and we want you to continue to engage with us and even let us know what topics you would like to see on I Am an Entrepreneur. So if you are on YouTube and Facebook and that's where you've been watching from, do post in the comment section. And if you are watching anywhere else, our WhatsApp number is 078-350-0768. We're also on Facebook, like our page, I Am an Entrepreneur, and on Instagram, on Twitter, you can follow us at IAAESA. We absolutely love hearing from you. A very big thank you to our sponsor, FNB, and our partners, Renault and ShopRite, and most importantly, thank you to you for watching. Cannot wait to see you at the very next I Am an Entrepreneur. My name is Karabon Tsweng, and wishing you all the best and many wins in 2022.
The I'm an Entrepreneur Summit is sponsored by FNB in association with our partners.